Welcome to another video of financial indicators by Fahad M. Gohar. This is going to be the video number 16. Now, this video subject will be the government debt to GDP, what it means. What it does actually, it compares the country government debt to its economy gross domestic product GDP. It provides an indication of the country ability to pay back its debt. The government debt, of course, refers to the total amount of money that a government owes to its creditors, which can include domestic and foreign entities. GDP is the total monetary value of all goods and services produced within a country border over a specific period, usually a year. Of course, a high level of government debt can lead to reduced economic growth as more government resources are directed towards servicing that debt rather than investing in productive areas such as infrastructure or education. So, when you have a high ratio debt, means it indicates that a country may have more difficulty paying off its debt. That's very dangerous. When you have a lower ratio debt, it means it suggests a more manageable debt load that the country can handle. Now, how we calculate that debt is very simple formula. It's government debt divided by the GDP multiplied by 100. Let me give you an example here. Let's say if a country has a government debt of 10 trillion and a GDP of 20 trillion. You just divide the 10 trillion by the 20 multiplied by 100, you end up with 50%. That's, the government debt to GDP. Of course. Now, what the impact on decision making when you have, a government debt? Of course, the impact will be you might initiate austerity measure, which means cutting public spending and raising taxes to reduce that debt. Or maybe you can do debt restructuring, which means the country will renegotiate terms with its creditors to make debt more manageable. And lastly, maybe you have policy adjustment, which means central bank might adjust interest rate to manage inflation and debt level. Now, let's see exactly how we categorize that debt. In this way, we can visualize actually how that debt is structured, and then we can, figure out if we have high, debt, low debt, medium debt, etc., etc. When you have a low ratio, which means between less than 30%, we call it low ratio, which indicates a low level of debt relative to the size of that economy. Between 30 and 60%, we call it moderate ratio, which indicates a manageable level of debt. Between 60 and 90, that's a red flag. That's a high ratio, which means suggests potential concern over the ability to repay the debt. Anything above 90, that's very dangerous. That's very high ratio, which indicate a high level of debt, which may signal a risk to the economy stability of that country. Now let's see the effect of that high ratio debt on credit rating, for that country. The credit rating is very important. Of course, it will end up, that credit rating, will be lower credit rating because you are increasing the borrowing cost for government to pay its debt. So the credit rating will go down. How about then the interest rate? What's going to happen to the interest rate? Of course, we'll end up with a high interest rate due to what? To increase risk with indebted government. So the interest rate will go up. How about the bond? Definitely, the bond with a high interest rate means the newer bond will be more sellable, the older bond will lose its value, even though the newer bond has a higher yield, but the older bond still with the old yield, so therefore they're not going to be favorable, so the bond price will end up going lower. How about then the currency value? What's going to happen to it? Of course, now you have high interest rate, price inflation, which will erode the currency value due to excess printing, so you end up with, currency value goes up. So now I hope this small introduction give you an idea what the government debt means and how you can utilize it in your business as one of the financial indicators. See you in the next video.